Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Welcome to the Belmont Stakes Card handicapping session. Seth Merrow here, joined by Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, Anthony Mormino. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, sirs.
Happy to have you guys on board for Belmont at Saratoga, the highlight, obviously, of the festival weekend. Belmont Stakes Day card, with the Belmont Stakes being the highlight, but a nice stakes card underneath as well, and we'll go through the entire card. Before we do, let's just get some general thoughts on Belmont at Saratoga. You know, we've had some racing already. I think so far so good, but Kevin, your thoughts on Belmont at Saratoga?
You know, I was surprised the turnout was a little bit light yesterday. You know, they announced 22,000. It appeared a little less. I guess they go by sales, but coming here today, you see the
handle was legit, though.
The handle was 22 million.
Yeah, the handle was.
I think Greg said it was 20 million more than the last Thursday before Belmont. But good vibe there, and parking lots are starting to fill up already today. And we're going to be going over the morning, afternoon, and evening races.
Yeah, no question about it. Anthony?
I think it's tremendous. I just can't. I know one thing. There was probably 10,000 more people than the last Thursday before the Belmont Stakes on track. And you're right. I think the Friday part really sets in. Seth was telling me earlier that the school, I guess the public school, is closed in town. So I said, should be field trip day over to the track. Bring everybody over.
It's an Oscar Madison train of thought right there.
Yes.
I thought about young.
And I said, you'll appreciate that being a friend of Jack. I said, the school bus pulls in. It's not Saratoga. It's fourth grade.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We'll see how it all works out. Yeah, I've said already the first couple of legs of the Triple Crown down at Churchill with their 2 big days of racing. They were a whole week, actually. 2 big days down at Pimlico. Great stories, a lot of fun so far, Triple Crown. So we'll hope it keeps up. Given the card, it looks like it will. Kevin, also want to wish you good luck on the bankroll as we take this. You're just about to kick off the Friday bankroll for our bankroll team, but on Saturday you'll have another $1,500 to play, so knock them dead.
Thanks for reminding me of that, because I got to get those in. I didn't get an email yet. I got to get on that.
We're going to have to wait about 50 minutes.
Yes.
All right, let's get underway. We'll take a look at the full card coming up. 14 races kicking off 10:45 on Saturday morning. So the opener Saturday, Belmont Stakes Day card, race number 1, allowance non-winners of 1 other than the 1.5 turn mile. Kevin, your thoughts on the opener?
Excuse me for flipping the pages. I had these printed up front and back, so I'm a little bit of spaz this morning. I went with a 736 in order of preference. Number 7, Vespucci, 10-1 on the morning line. I utilized DRF formulator, as I normally do. Over the last 5 years, when Reynolds has a horse going 2 turns for the first time on the dirt, who hit the board less than 40 days ago, he's 4 for 5 in that regards, and he's, you know, like a 12% trainer normally. The winners came back $6, $15, $8, and $3, and there's a subcategory of 2 for 2 right here. And of course, we like to draw. Secondary selection, as I flip things around. Number 2, general partner. Going to take all kinds of money, given the 2 stakes tries last year. Gets Lasix for the first time, and our boy Flavor Flav in the irons. And our third selection, and keeping things a little bit short and sweet early on. Going to throw in a price. Number 6, Tommy Two Socks. Antonucci and Castellano paired for a exciting $29 winner here yesterday. There was a little bit of an inquiry, but no change was made. Bounce is always possible off the career best effort, but in a short field throwing with 20-1 underneath doesn't take much effort. So once again, that's 736 for me.
Anthony, race 1?
I'm 173. I just touched on my top pick, Black Rain, who broke the maiden on September 14th, makes the first start against winners. I said all last summer, it was one of the biggest changes for me in handicapping is I don't care about layoffs anymore. It used to be before layoffs were almost a toss. Then there seemed to be a very small group of trainers who had a real ability to bring a horse back to the afternoon sharp. Now it doesn't matter to me, so I'm 173. I'm going to take Black Rain over Vespucci, who I think would be a sharp horse tomorrow.
And to your point about the layoffs, recently the racing form went from making the layoff line 45 days, I think, to 60 days because they recognize also that a layoff.
Banging that drum for almost 10 years. I said they should. My thing was they should get 10 trainers together, and you tell us what you consider you laid the horse off. Right. What you did. You're the professional. And whatever number, average it out, that'd be the number. Because we've talked about it many times. 45 days. The horse isn't laid off. He's in the barn. He's doing stuff. So, Good job.
I have an 8, 3, 5, and 1. I put Classic Legacy on top. I'm a little concerned. You clearly stuck in the bridesmaid mode a little bit, and you always hate to see that. But I thought off the recent numbers, horse seems to be in good form. Now, 8 post position coming out of the chute. We'll see how that plays out. General partner, it's the Chad Brown-Klarovich runner who did show some certainly talent last year, making the seasonal debut. And then Quick to Accuse. Third start back off an early season layoff. Had a nice win, 2 starts back late March, late April. Had a nice win as well. So clearly coming in very good form in the opener for me at Saratoga. 8, 3, 5, and 1. All right, race number 2. We're looking at optional claimers, non-winners of 1 types, scheduled to go a mile on the turf. Anthony, your thoughts on the second?
Wide open race. I love these mile inner turf races. Rails will be down. 5, 6, 11. Lady DeBerry, Chad Brown's runner. Into Mischief is clearly one of the great stallions of all time. He's already showing he's a sire of sires because Practical Joke is just picking up the baton from his dad. We get Lasix for the 3-year-old debut. Hasn't run since running in the Jimmy Durante, which is a 2-year-old turf stakes race late in the season out of Del Mar. I have the 6 underneath, the Chad Brown other runner taking on winners for the first time. And then for those fans of, I guess, the Taj Mahal, I like the 11, Agra. So 5, 6, 11.
I'm 6, 5, 11, and the 1 entry. I love the name, Spaladay. It's a holiday at the spa. Spaladay comes out of the Mayor Day at the Spa, but it's Chad Brown, Peter Brandt. Broke the maiden in the 3rd career start with a series of improving numbers. Irod scheduled to be on board. I'll tilt in that direction. The other Chad, Lady DeBerry, in the 2nd spot. Hasn't been seen since last year. Got to like that they popped out to take a shot out at Del Mar with this horse. So again, another horse with some interesting connections and talent early on. And Agra in the 3rd spot, the number 11. The 11 post position is certainly going to be an obstacle to overcome the mile on the turf, but I think comes in off a start in May, a little bit of an early season layoff that bodes well to maybe move forward from. In the second race for me, 6, 5, 11 in the 1 entry. Kevin?
For both pairs of the daily double, I landed on a 10-1 shot. I'm just going to start with the number 4, Storm Miami. This Brendan Walsh charge by no means disgraced herself when making a first start in the States, beating home half the field and showed a baby Z pattern that day. Some of you old timers will know what that means. Too much for me to explain right now. From a small sampling, Walsh is 2 for 4 with Saratoga-based optional turf stock who were off the board 31 to 67 days in the rear. That's an angle I use, in the money and out of the money. Some trainers do well with horses that miss the money. Ridden by Gaffaleone, and the winners came back double digits, $15 and $11. Second choice was number 1, Camera. This one has a lot of wood to chop to get back that $1 million auction price from up the road a couple of years ago, but seems to be figuring things out as she goes along. And I also landed on Spaladay for 3rd, the kind of horse you can draw an upwards arrow alongside the speed figures, as seems to be getting better and better as she goes along. So my selections for race 2 and the traditional early daily doubles, second half, 4, 1, 6.
3rd race, speaking of pick bets, this will kick off a pick 5. 3rd race on Saturday. Optional claimer, non-winners to 2 other than 6.5. I'll kick it off 8, 2, 5, and 4. I'm going to put full screen on top. Mark Cassie, Irod Ortiz. 3rd start back this season. Nice improvement, start 1 to start 2. if we get that third start move. And Blazing Sevens is a horse I actually like in the Met Mile a little bit later, so ran second to that one. I think this horse is going to be very intriguing. Third start back, cuts back today, full screen on top. Second spot, our friends at America's Pastime Racing, locally based partnership. Always like to root for their horses, and this one had a win streak snapped last time with a fourth place finish. But boy, the races before that, to me it looks like, those were pretty consistent, those races just before. So to me, that means the last might have been a little bit of an aberration. Got a poor start there. I'll look for Mandatory to get back in the groove. And then Subrogate in the third spot. Lately raced runner that perhaps has some upside potential. Seasonal debut was pretty good. I could see building on that, certainly. So for me, in the fourth spot, I have Looms Boldly. We had Marshall Graham on this week from 10 Strike Racing. And, of course, this one named tip of the cap to our friend PTF, Pierre Thomas Fornatal. That's Looms Boldly being his Twitter handle. And has shown some talent, certainly, so far in the career. But I could only go fourth spot there, but certainly another one that would be fun to root for. In the third, 8, 2, 5, and 4. Kevin, your thoughts?
I seem to be landing on some long shots to start out today.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, that's how I roll. Went with the number 3, Cup on top. Horse burned some bread last time out. When losing action at the 5/8 pole, it's hard to figure out exactly what caused it that day. But I'm willing to be forgiving. The front wraps were on, so if you see the front wraps come off today, the stock goes up. If you could be a little bit forgiving, you get back to the last 2 starts before that, a win and a second, and Davis gets back on the horse, and he was on the horse for those 2 efforts. So he wouldn't get on the horse if he thought there was anything wrong with the animal. My secondary selection, excuse my flippage, is the number 7, Life Changer. Horse for the course, a win, a second, and a third in all 3 local engagements, and post a career best wet track figure last time out. So if you wanted to prorate that to his best fast track figure, it moves him up proportionally. Third selection, number 1, Bilal, just basically a toss-in for the third. There's 2 of 3 when breaking from the innermost 3 slots, and just may sit a nice tucked trip below Junior. So 3, 7, 1 for me in the third.
Anthony?
Seth, we're just a same ballpark-ish. 5, 8, 2. I just went for Subrogate because I like the comeback race, the seasonal debut at 4. It was very sharp, and depending on the calendar, I would be much against this horse. But that race was in early April, so I believe a 4-year-old has had more than enough time to recharge the batteries, if you will. And I'm going to, coming into this level for the first time, won the entry-level allowance off the layoff, try and make it 2 in a row. I have full screen. I do think he's the horse to beat with Irad. I think he has a very tactical advantage on the outside. And then Mandatory 5, 8, 2 in the third.
I always stop panicking when you and I land so differently sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here?
Well, I gave you the stink eye on your Derby pick, and
Who ran decently? You don't cash for decently, though.
I'm going. My guy lost the irons, had the worst trip of every horse, and ran 8th. But I was like, when your horse, I was just like,
I think I ran 7th.
Yes, I think you're correct, because I was holding my breath after giving you the stink eye when you chose the turf horse.
Bring back the head-to-head bets. That's right.
Fourth.
I'm telling. Of all the things they talk about, new people in the game, that seems to be the most.
Especially because it falls in lines with sports betting. It's simple.
That's exactly why. All we think about, my horse beat your horse.
Seth for dominating your time.
No, that's okay. They got to bring back the parlay slip.
Oh my goodness!
So it's easy to make a nice parlay bet. I think those would be popular with people too. Fourth race at Saratoga, stakes action, the True North Grade 2 event. 6.5 furlongs is the trip. I think this is an intriguing bunch in here. Kevin, your thoughts on the True North?
Sheepishly, I landed on the heavy favorite, Gun Pilot. Been a completely different animal this year. Has a good rapport with Torres, but a length shy of shooting for 5 in a row this afternoon. Not that the horse needs it, but the As Man, Asmussen, for you Seinfeld fans out there, from 8 starts with those fitting this exact criteria, has 4 wins and 3 places, but that doesn't really matter when the horse is even money. Should sit a perfect trip. My secondary selection is the number 2, Rodney. Went all the way against New York Breds last month and is 1 of 2 right here and has fared well in second off the layoff starts. Not entirely hopeless. And my third selection, keeping with the gun theme, is although they're not related. Number 6, Gun It. The speedy sort, this could be on the choo-choo early and rates a shot if able to set some early fractions. A little bit of a nibbler though, so we're going to leave beneath. That'll make our selections 5, 2, 6 in race number 4.
Anthony?
Intriguing from David Aragona's great morning line. You have the even money shot, then you have like 5 horses at 5 to 1. It's like, or just about. And the way I looked at it, Gun Pilot on figures is not clearly the horse to beat, but slightly the horse to beat. If he regresses 5 points, which is reasonable, at even money, which I do think, sometimes I think the even money shots you're gonna be looking at 3 to 5. I don't think that's the case in this race. I think if you like Gun Pilot, you don't have to worry about a short price. I'm 275. I took Rodney. I think nice confidence builder in the affirmed success. Baby Yoda, who doesn't have to live with that 114 on the PPs. It is in the right-hand corner of the career box. Big win last time. He's on the outside, and then I have Gun Pilot. As I said, an intriguing race. You have about 4 or 5 horses at 5 to 1, and you have the even money horse. And on balance, I think the race is more balanced than the separation in the price on the morning line.
I have it 6, 5, 4, and 7. I'm done it on top. I think off the last couple might try to go out and steal it. I don't think that's a sure thing, but we'll know furlong into the race whether he could potentially pull away. But I think could be intriguing on the front end for Linda Rice and Jose Ortiz. So off of that last win, which certainly kind of jumps off the page, is one to take a look at on the front end in the seasonal debut. I'll tilt in the direction of Gun It. Then I'll go with Gun Pilot underneath. That triple-digit buyer is going to attract a lot of attention, deservedly so. And it was in a stakes race down at Churchill on Derby weekend, so absolutely legit as the favorite. And a creative. I've liked this horse throughout the career and hasn't quite lived up to some of the early promise, but did run well last time at 7. Cuts back to the 6.5 today, albeit behind Baby Yoda. I don't know.
You mentioned the triple-digit buyer. Well, I would always rather have my horse run a 99 than a 101 because I think you're going to get more value because people see that triple digit and they're more likely to bet more in than the extra 2 points is deserving.
You're absolutely right. I have it in the 4, 6, 5, 4, and 7. That'll take us to our first break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at this spectacular Belmont Stakes Day card. Stay tuned.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back. We are taking a look at the Belmont Stakes Day card here on the Handicappers Report, Capital OTB TV. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrow, and let's jump back in with race number 5, the Poker Grade 3 event, a mile on the grass. Anthony, your thoughts?
If you watch this program, you know that our heart is rooting for Casa Creed. I went 6-2-3. I'm trying to beat Casa Creed and Carl Spackler, mostly because I think the race is more evenly matched than that. Casa Creed and Carl Spackler are, daylight better than everybody else. On buyer speed figures, they are. I'm more comfortable on turf rejecting that than on dirt. And Kubrick is my top pick. This is a classic line for me, where comes to the United States, wins at Tampa. We know Chad Brown loves the turf course at Tampa, and then went in the Grade 1, did not get a firm turf course. 50-50, Belmont Stakes Day, we get a firm turf course. I'll take my chances at 8-1 with Fabian Prata and Casa Creed, who has been nothing short of wonderful up here, and then Carl Spackler, who was probably one of my, in the Hall of Fame, one of my biggest thoughts ever on a horse. I think the poker is more open, I won't say wide open, but open than just Casa Creed, Carl Spackler.
You would think Kubrick has to be named after one of the greatest
Stanley?
directors of all time.
I would think so.
But there's
You
no.
stole my thunder with the joke I was going to do.
Well, you can still do the joke. There's no relation to the breeding though. But it's
Well, maybe Peter Brandt, just was like, I want to name.
I think that's it. Passive glory.
And it might be hard to get lineage that eventually flows into Kubrick.
Yeah, you're right. If you're waiting around, it may be a long.
It might be a long way.
I have it 7, 2, 3, and 6.
I think Peter was waiting. He finally said, "That's it."
I'm good with we're close enough. It's not close at all, but it's close enough. Talking the nation on top for me. Todd Pletcher trainee in the seasonal debut just missed behind Carl Spackler in a Churchill Downs stake. I would think that race may set Talk of the Nation up nicely here. Then, certainly rooting for Lee Einseidler, and Casa Creed, who has just been phenomenal up here. After the two nice races up here last year, we had him sit in with us, and he was saying, I think, the way he's going, we'll probably come back and try to, run the table again next year. And so we're certainly rooting for Casa Creed. As now an elderly runner, but seasonal debut. We'll see. I have the horse underneath. Perfectly happy if that one wins, though. And then Carl Spackler, who has shown plenty of promise. Speaking of movie references, but plenty of promise so far in the career. I have it 7, 2, 3, and 6.
Okay, I guess I'm up. I once again went for a price here. A little bit of intriguing pick with the number 8 Lucky Score. Horse was Grizzly down at Gulfstream at the end of March. I just can't see Cassie just throwing a horse in a race as tough as this unless he thought the horse was live. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. And the horses ran 3 straight 7s, which will do you good at the craps table, but not on the front side. I like to be forgiving of certain things in order to get a price on a horse. I like to make some excuses. May have needed the last off the 3-month layoff. Had some traffic troubles in the Santa Anita Sprint. And the Breeders' Cup effort was much better than it looks because he only lost by 2 lengths or so that day at 51-1, and could do with any pace to cut into. And I could see the spot where Rosario comes from out of the back of the pack with a hot pace up front. So the 8's my top selection. Number 3, Carl Spackler, obvious Caddyshack reference there, and yes, could be a Cinderella story. I think I could do a little bit better than that. I mean, I was tired. What do you want out of me? Was a going away winner and his only true second off the layoff try, and is 3 for 3 beneath the T-gap, which adds to the allure. Third selection is the number 6, Kubrick. Had quite the odyssey last time out. Odyssey.
There you go. We see what you did there.
I'll be here for 9 more races, folks. Try to be ill. 1 for 1 on firm ground, which
that was okay.
1 for 1 on firm ground.
Particularly after the Carl Spackler
to toss in. And if I was Harvey Pack right now, I'd do that with that race. All right.
I will say, yes, the Carl Spackler, you went for the low-hanging fruit with the Carl Spackler reference, but the Odyssey was okay. All right, 6th race here. It's the Suburban Grade 2 event, 1.25 miles. I'm up first, and when you guys sat down, you were both kind of poking at my top pick, Charge It. I have this. We had mentioned it, Anthony and I, when we were talking about on Wednesday. We're going through some of the stakes action. This is not a stellar Suburban field by any means, and so I don't jump in with a lot of confidence. But the Charge It won this race last year in pretty fine fashion. I'm going to tilt in that direction just because nobody else was jumping off the page at me. Boondog certainly comes in good form and looks logical. I'm not sure how he's going to class up with this bunch, although, as far as runners in the handicap division, this seems like a good spot to jump in and try. Krupi in the 3rd spot for me. I think better than the try over in Dubai. And I think a better effort puts that one in the mix. So, again, I don't have a whole lot of confidence, but I'm 4, 8, 7, and 3. Kevin?
When I submit my selections, it's the night before we air, and that way they can put the numbers on the screen. And I did a seminar just before this one for the fine folks at Saratoga, and I too originally landed on charging. So I went to the fine man Dino who works for Capital. I said, I need to switch my top pick. I landed on him, but I didn't like him. It was one of those deals. Like, first of all, the Suburban deserves much better after all the years in history it has. Half of the field comes in off an optional event, including your favorite. With the history that this race has, it deserves a little bit better. I switched my top 2 selections. I'm going to change it in my column when I get home after this. I'm putting the number 5, Time for Trouble, on top. I love horses that have a, quote, declining mark. 31 starts, 11 wins, then down to 4 placings and 1/3. They know where the finish line is. In a race where nothing is sexy to me, that is sexy to me. 2 for 4 in third off the layoff spots, both at decent prices. I seem to have landed on Torres a couple of times throughout the card today. And why not swing for a price if you don't really like the race? So now Charge It is officially my secondary selection. And my third choice will be the number 1 Signator, going away winner, the only time breaking from the rail, and may sit a snug trip. So now 5, 4, 6. Not what it says on your screen below my pretty face.
No, I think they'll probably have it changed by the time you do, because they're not actually doing the chicklets now. So I think they'll have it fixed up. Anthony, your thoughts on the Suburban?
Great, you change. 581 for me. 2 things I'll point out since they're both to my left here. Poking at Seth is only because I think Charge It's in the mix, but he's 5-2, and that's the downside. Where I believe Time for Trouble is, he fits. And he's 15-1, and we're not going to get bet. We're going to get our price. He's in the mix. If you parse through it, or you take the easy way out and just go to the career box and you see his dirt resume, okay. If you take away the idea of how many great Suburbans there used to be, and this is a grade 3 one, you're like, I'm taking my chances at 15-1. I think we're all in it to win it. Well, I don't want 5-2. I don't want 2-1. I don't want 3-1.
You originally had him second until I gave you my selection there.
Really?
You just switched.
Really? Reading is fundamental. Let's see. It's a big blue Sharpie. The 1. The highlight over here. Come on. Not even close. And the thing is, what was funny is, years ago, before David Aragona got him, they put the morning line up. When I would do the show, I would make certain selections. When I got the morning line, I want it not to be, if I had felt my first pick was 5-2, my second pick was 8-1, I changed it. I didn't want the 5-2 on top. I'm 5-8-1. I think it's a wide open race. Charger could win it very easily. There could be a $6 winner in the Suburban, but I think looking at the race going forward, those are not the horses I want to be with, because I don't think they stand out.
7th race this afternoon, the Ogden Phipps Grade 1 event, and excuse me if I was turning away from the camera there, because I wanted to pull up. This has become a really nice race, certainly on that older filly and mare calendar. And I just pulled up in the last 10 years, the last couple of years, Clariere wins, then it was Latruska, She's a Julie, Midnight Bijou, Songbird, Cavorting, Close Hatches. So this is a lineup of really solid runners, and I think this year it's a field of 6 scheduled, but I think a pretty good group in here, highlighted by probably Idiomatic, but the Ogden Phipps at 1 1/8 for the fillies and mares. Kevin, your thoughts in race 7?
I could sit here and espouse about everything positive about Idiomatic, but I'd be idiotic, because everybody knows how wonderful this horse is. 4 straight Grade 1 wins, won 9 of her last 10, win over the course, 3 for 3 at the trip. Here's what I wrote. Won't lose the race, but maybe somebody can beat her. She's not going to lose it for anything she does wrong, but somebody could possibly have the race of a lifetime and maybe get up in time. And on that top spot, I went with the number 6, Raging Sea. Shoots for the Grand Slam today, has done well at the trip, has done okay in a second off the layoff start, and you're getting Chad and Pratt at 9-2. Maybe Idiomatic doesn't win forever, and maybe this is the day that she gets beat. And we'll take a spot, 9-2 over 3-5. She is our secondary selection. And then our third choice is the number 1 randomized, 2 for 2 with Rosario. I've said before, people like Rosario coming from the back of the pack, turf routes, etc. I love him walking the dog in a 2-turn dirt race. I think that's his strongest point. And he's done it both times on this horse. Don't sleep on this one.
Anthony?
And I'll tell you just a quick thing about the Phipps. It used to be $1 million, and if you were to click on the chart for closed hatches, the fact that Beholder ran 4th, beating the length, shows you how great this is. I'm 156. The race goes through Idiomatic, but not through the betting windows. Randomized, walked the dog in the Alabama last year. I like the prep race coming in for this. Idiomatic, she's going to run her race, and she's going to be right there as she just marches towards the Hall of Fame. And then Raging Sea.
I went with Idiomatic, 5, 6, 1, and 3. That seasonal comeback. I mean, it makes the seasonal debut in May. And I thought that was one of the better performances at Derby weekend. She has the nice win up here last year, so has shown some ability over the track. Idiomatic on top. Raging Sea off the nice race down at Churchill last time and randomized has certainly shown some talent. Plenty of talent for Chad and Klarovich. She becomes intriguing as well. Pretty mischievous. I have in the 4th spot, but that one could make a little noise. Fun race in the Ogden Phipps. For me, 5, 6, 1, and 3. 8th race, another fun race over the years where it has become a thing on these big race days for the 3-year-olds to have a 3-year-old sprint race, and this subdivision of 3-year-old sprinters has become a lot of fun, and this is a big full field in here that I think is going to help make this edition of the Woody Stevens kind of fun. Grade 1 event, they're putting up $500,000, 7 furlongs is the trip for the 3-year-olds. Anthony, your thoughts?
First favorite horse I ever had was the Riva Ridge. And this is the old one. Prince of Monaco debuted at 1-20. I thought when Gamine debuted at 1-10, I'd never seen anything like it again. He is the 7-2 favorite. Good luck there. There are 15-1 shots, multiples that I think are live, and one of them is my top pick. I am 12-3-6. BU shortening up out of the bluegrass, taking on winners for only the 2nd time. I'm on the outside. It is a very salivating trip that I am perceiving, because obviously I am biased, that I am going to sit. Now, whether he can, pick up all the pieces, we're going to find out with Johnny V in the saddle. Imagination, my 2nd pick. Bob Baffert's runner, not so good in the Preakness. And then for 3rd, Reasoned Analysis, another 15-1 shot off of the Bayshore Victory. If we had Chicklets up here, I wouldn't be shocked if we had 8 different horses between the 3 of us.
I did go Prince of Monaco, 7, 1, 8, and 5. The first 3 starts of the career were just very good, and then goes to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and kind of flops. Ran 5th, but certainly didn't live up to the first 3 starts. But this is the kind, you get a layoff, they can come back improved. And if this horse comes back improved, watch out. Now, the question mark is the layoff. But look at those workouts. And just over the years, I have really liked when Bob Baffert has come east with sprinters and stakes races like this. So I'm going to go with Prince of Monaco on top. 2nd slot, Bookham Dano. Oh, that was a heartbreaker in the Saudi Derby. Comes to Saudi Arabia off a win and a stake at Tampa and just gets run down by the super talented Japanese runner Forever Young. And I mean just gets run down. I'm interested to see this one on the return. We were talking about this race yesterday on Racing Across America, and I think it was Mike Welch who kind of pointed out, the lack of workouts is a concern, and I totally agree, but I'm excited to see the what we get from Bookham Dano, given what we saw over in Saudi Arabia. And Vallejos, lightly raced. Somebody said this horse might be scratched. I'll toss it out there just because I haven't seen that confirmed, but if that does turn out to be a scratch, frost-free off the nice bullet workout and a nice win last time at Pimlico, frost-free at a price is worth taking an extra look at. So for me, in the Woody Stevens, 7, 1, 8, and 5. Kevin, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I want to give honorable mention, although I haven't used the horse in my top 3, to Nutella Fella. We had that one on top on closing day last year at 55-1. Something on my back, that's just me patting myself. But I couldn't get to the horse today. I landed on Vallejos, if that's the correct pronunciation. First of all, I love the Saya Cantaros. I just can't understand why the horse is only standing for 15,000. I always seem to land on his progeny. I'll take 6-1 all day long. Spectacular in the debut. Did well when losing to Seize the Grey by just a length and a quarter. Obviously, that one came back to win in a Pat Day mile. And did it from the 11 hole. Maldonado was excellent on the front end. Like Seth said, I'm not sure if the horse is going to make the trip, but I will bite at 9-1. Second selection is Nash. Cross entered tomorrow, which will be Sunday, at Churchill, but I believe Tim Wilkins said the horse is on the ground, so should be running. Logical, could do with any pace you cut into. Beat out Top Choice in the Pate Mile, but loses 4 pounds in a weight switch. And being it was just a head differential, that could make a little bit of difference. And flipping to our third selection, number 2, Barksdale. Went all the way, last 2 starts out. We have no trouble, despite the paucity of class in the resume, and using an informed horse like that at 20-1 odds. So 8, 9, 2. How many different horses do we have?
I think I nailed it. We had 8 out of 9 different horses.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll move along on this Belmont Stakes card. Stay tuned.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back, Belmont Stakes card, Handicappers Report, Seth Merrow, Kevin Cox, Anthony Mormino. Let's jump into it with the 9th today, the Jaipur Grade 1 event. They will vie for $500,000, sprinting a quick 5.5 on the grass. I have it 6, 8, 2, and 5. I'm going to put Star of Mystery on top for Charlie Appleby. Normally, I think with turf sprinters, we have the advantage here in the United States as compared to some of the Europeans. But boy, this horse has looked legit over there. Appleby has certainly been coming over the last couple of years and being successful. So it's 6-1 on the morning line. I'll take a little pop, but as I say, I'm a little bit concerned because I think we do have the advantage in this particular subcategory. Of those runners, the United States-based runners, I like Cogburn. Up the nice win. I had this horse on top that day at a decent 8-1 Derby weekend in the turf sprint down at Churchill, and I think off of that seasonal debut, the Asmussen runner is very, very dangerous. And then Arzak in the 3rd spot. Mike Trombetta runner comes in good form. 3 wins in the last 4 starts, including a win last time in a turf sprint stake at Keeneland. Now, the 3 races just before that were last year, but ended the year in good form, started the year in good form, and just seems to have been improved over the last few starts. So Arzak intriguing as well. In the Jaipur, 6, 8, 2, and 5. Kevin, your thoughts?
I too landed on the number 6, Star of Mystery. You have a 3-year-old running against older horses, who is also a filly running against the boys. And being a 3-year-old this time of year still counts for a little something because they're not completely mature in my eyes. But she's handled the boys already. 4 starts against him this year with 2 wins and 2 placings. And you like the confidence shown by Appleby in doing that. He's just thinking about the quality of the horse. Like I said, been in the exacta 8 and 9 starts overall, if they even have an exacta overseas. I don't even know. But I'm speaking parenthetically there. Secondary selection, number 2, Arzak, like Seth alluded to, has won 3 or 4 truncated starts a little bit, with the lone blemish, if you can call it that, coming in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. And there's another one that has that type of declining mark that we've grown to love over the years. Knows where the finish line is. We land on Torres once again. And for a price, 3rd spot, number 7, No Nay Mets. We like when a trainer isn't scared to make an equipment, a medication, or a testicular change on a horse after a good effort, because they're doing it with confidence, not out of act of desperation. And the blinkers go on here today, and could spice things up for Weaver, who's now had his suspension lifted, or removed, or vacated. So good for him. So 6-2-7 for us in race 6.
5-8-12 for me. Big invasion. I'm going to excuse the last race. This will be third race in the cycle since the Breeders' Cup. I'm going to get a price with Joel Rosario closing. I have the other Charles Appleby in the mix. I have Cogburn for second, but Mischief Magic on the outside is, to me, in a race that I couldn't have a firm opinion because I think there's about 8 major players, including Thor, the God of Thunder. But Mischief Magic, 5-8-12 in the Jaipur.
We will now look at race number 10. Race number 10 this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, the Metropolitan Handicap Grade 1 event. $1 million, and it's the 1.5 turn mile. Kevin, your thoughts in the Met Mile?
You know, it's intriguing because usually in these mile races out of the Wilson Chute, jockeys can be a little tentative. They're not big major stakes races coming out of there. They're, medium caliber horses or some maidens, so they take their time. You're going to see a little bit of a scramble heading into this first turn because of the big pot on the line here. And holding my nose, I landed on the favorite, number 2, National Treasure. Has been a completely different animal since finishing second in the Breeders' Cup and losing by a nose. Followed that up with a win in the Pegasus. And in the $20 million race in Saudi, just lost by a length and change. I don't have any knocks against this one. Probably a deserving favorite. My secondary selection, number 4. Is that Blazing Sevens?
Yeah, winning the Champagne.
Okay, number 4, Blazing Sevens. Comes in off an optional win. Now, I've seen Chad do this before. A lot of times up here, he'll enter a horse in the Curlin to set the horse up for the Travers. He'll enter a horse in an optional event just to give them the confidence they need for going in a big race. So don't read too much into the fact that was all out to win by just a length at 4-5. That was a prep for this. So Blazing Sevens is our second choice. And boy, what a fun horse number 3 Post Time is. Shades of Extra Heat a little bit. Obviously there are some difference, but Maryland bred, Wind Machine, $10,000 bred animal, goes way over $1 million with a win today. If I lose, it's the kind of horse where I don't mind if that horse beats me. You have the Russell family coming along. So those are my horses. 2, 4, 3.
Anthony?
My math is right. Post Time basically will double lifetime earnings with a W, and I am 3-6-2. I will say you left White Barrio off. I kind of feel as if the race goes through him, and I think Post Time is the upset special. I think I'll receive better than 7-2. White Barrio is 6-5 favorite on the outside. I think he's going to be heck to pay in this race. And National Treasure, as you mentioned, he pushed Cody's Wish to the mat, and he has seemed to have, for a horse that won the Preakness, it seems as if he's a different horse from a horse that won a Classic. I think it's an outstanding field of 6, but I like Post Time in the, I guess, a small upset, 3-6-2.
4, 2, 6, and 3 for me. I put Blazing Sevens on top. I do think that was a confidence builder. Earlier this week, I was in the winner's circle after the Ways and Means victory with stepping out of Stakes Company, and I said, was this a confidence builder for her? And he said, yeah, absolutely, and we'll move on back to Stakes moving forward. And I think that's the game plan for the last race for Blazing Sevens. I thought it was a good performance. I think probably has to step it up just slightly, but not much, and I think that's not out of the question. Second spot, National Treasure, the 2 triple-digit buyers in the starts prior to the Saudi Cup, particularly the Pegasus Classic down at Gulfstream, attract my attention. I think probably get close to those here on the move east, and then White Barrio in the third spot. White Barrio, may wind up being the one to beat, given what this horse did up here last year in the Whitney with the 110 buyer.
Who do you take out of the last race?
That's why I put the horse in the third spot. I didn't know what to make, but it kind of has the look of draw a line, like an aberration. So that's why I put the horse down in the mix a little bit. off of that performance over in Saudi. So for me, 4, 2, 6, 3.
We're all looking over our shoulders here like we never heard thunder before, but this is being
never heard it in my left ear before.
The 11th at Saratoga, the Manhattan Grade 1 event. Again, $1 million up for grabs. A mile and a 16th on the grass. Anthony, your thoughts?
Mile 3/16.
Did I say one? Yeah, mile
that's fine.
3/16.
It's top of the stretch. Love these races. 9:85 measured time. Charlie Appleby makes the second start since January. First time United States, the offspring of Frankel. For second, Farbridge. The debut on January 21st. I think it's fair to say most often when we talk about what might be maiden special weight races, and it's usually dirt races, I get it, but that was talked about from the get-go, and with Carl Spackler being the runner-up, and he's in the poker, and Farbridge being in the Manhattan, it turned out that way. And for third, program trading for Chad making the second start of the year after the victory in the Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, 9.85.
I'm 5'7", 1-9. I put program trading on top. 5 for 6 is Chad Brown on the turf here at Saratoga. Already a proven stakes quality performer. Won the Grade 1 last time in the seasonal debut. I'll put him on top. Nation's Pride for Charlie Appleby has certainly, Charlie Appleby, a European-based trainer, but this horse has spent much of the career over here and has run very well, including here at Saratoga. So I think Nation's Pride dangerous. And in the third spot, I'll go with I'm Very Busy. The starts 2 and 3 back with the triple-digit buyers at Gulfstream and Fairgrounds are very good. Last time, I think the horse is better than we saw last time, and it had a little trouble there, so I'm going to look for a rebound to a better performance from I'm Very Busy. For me in the Manhattan, 5, 7, 1, and 9. Kevin?
I too went with the 5 on top program trading. A tough horse to knock, just a length and change shy of being a perfect 6 for 6. Already has a win on the Mellon, and I know it's going back, but I just love the ride that day. Pratt recognized that nobody was really sending right out of the gate, and this is a horse that likes to rate a little bit, come from maybe 5 lengths out of it, and he sent the horse, and it was a gutsy all-out winner, because if he didn't do that, he was not going to win from off the pace that day. There's only one other speed horse signed on here that I'm not confident in. I wouldn't be surprised to see Flavor Flav be a little bit closer to the pace today rather than let Giroux get loose on an uncontested lead. Second selection, 7 Nations Pride. Obvious nice body of work. Makes all kinds of sense given the connections. Appleby, ya. And third choice, number 9, measured time for pretty much the same reasons. So 5, 7, 9 for me there.
All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, Belmont Stakes, the 2 get-out races as well. Stay tuned.
It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number 1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at ImpressionsSaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, the Belmont Stakes Handicappers Report, and we're going to jump into it right here. Grade 1 event, $2 million up for grabs. It is the Belmont at Saratoga. That means this year, 1.25 miles, so it's not the traditional 1.5 miles, but it's still a very, very fun race. I'm 5'3", I put Antiquarian on top, and I went back, I did a seminar earlier this week, and so I was doing a little research. I looked back at the Derby points races this year, took out the foreign races, took out the Tampa Bay Derby, which had the betting snafu. So there was 23 Derby prep races. Now that we've run the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, I threw them in. So 25 races. And just to kind of demonstrate how the 3-year-old crop has been this year, of those 25 races, 21 different winners. So there were 4 horses that doubled up. Encino, nobody is pointing to him as the 3-year-old champion. He's not here anyway. Catching Freedom has run well, but he's not here this week. So the 2 horses, they're probably the horses to beat in here. Mystic Dan winds up with a big win in the Southwest and the Kentucky Derby, and Sierra Leone has the Risen Star victory, which was probably one of the better, if not the best, prep race of the season in the Bluegrass. Either of them win on Saturday. They step to the top of the class, obviously. But I went with the trend where the 3-year-olds really aren't kind of solidifying, and I'm taking a little shot with Antiquarian to jump in and get it done. The Peter Pan victory came down the stretch, looked the Wine Steward in the eye. Johnny Velasquez gave him a little tap, and he went on by. Originally, the number there was an 88. They moved the buyer up to a 92. I like that because I think we probably have to move forward a little bit today, but I think from the 92, we're more in the ballpark. I have, as I say, to me, the ones to beat are Mystic Dan and Sierra Leone. I went with Mystic Dan because Sierra Leone is a work in progress. Chad's been playing around with a bit for the last couple of weeks to get him to be able to run straighter. So again, Mystic Dan, very consistent. I put him slightly over Sierra Leone, second and third. And then in the 4th spot, Resilience. And I went originally, I was really going back and forth, my top pick, Antiquarian and Resilience. And Resilience, top of the stretch, took a nice lead in the Derby and then faded. So you have to wonder, the 1.25 miles might be too long. But Belmont gets the horse up here, works, there were raves about the work, and then Belmont said, let's take another shot at 1.25 miles. That's notable to me, but I eventually said, we've already seen him fade a little bit of 1.25 miles. I'm going to tilt towards Antiquarian. So for me, in the Belmont, I have it 5, 3, 9, and 2. Kevin?
I'm going to start out with my secondary selection first, like my father would say. Squeeze it out a little bit. Sierra Leone, impossible to toss, to leave on your rolling bets, any type of, you can't toss the horse. But I don't like taking short odds on a horse that leaves a lot to do and has a hard time doing it in a straight line. I need to see a little more consistency that this horse can do it from that far back off the pace. So I left him underneath, but you can't toss the horse at all. My third selection, Anna Marie, gets a rider change today, as Kurz recently got injured, but he didn't give the horse a great ride in the Derby nonetheless, so Giroux is definitely an upgrade. If you go back to the penultimate effort, I've been hanging on to that $3 word for a little while, a solid second in the Louisiana Derby at 8-1, with a figure of 96, and it's adjusted a little bit more high than that because of a couple of months maturity since then, which would fit right there near the upper echelon of what this race normally produces. And my top choice is the one that Seth kind of just mentioned, Resilience. You're high on drugs if you think that Churchill strip was fast that day on Derby Day. It's listed as fast in the form. Trust your eyes. Don't trust what you're being told. Don't trust what you see on print. It was good or muddy, whatever you want to call it, but it was not fast. That being said, Junior made a quick middle move there, which might have led the horse to flatten out a little bit in the lane. I thought the middle move was too quick, but sometimes you're compelled to do that in the Derby. That being said, 2 starts on a wet track, 2 off-the-board finishes. Draw lines through them, just make simple notes. What has the horse done on a fast track? 57, 76, 79, 80, 90. So where's the horse's ceiling? Obviously, he has to plateau somewhere. But would it really be out of the realm of possibility for Mott to have this horse sitting on a big effort in here? Here's an example. You look at the last breeze, 48 flat, second best of 20, I believe, second best of 30. 4 breezes before that, all moderate. Breeze before that, best of 47 Bullet down at Payson Park. A few days later, bing, wins the Wood Memorial. So he cranks the horse up just before a solid effort, and all the intermediary works were just that, average. Junior could sit a nice trip here. Follow the tire tracks of C is the gray. Sit a half a path outside of that horse, sitting the tuck. Make the first jump on Sierra Leone, turning for home. Save all the ground. I hope. So 2, 9, 8 for me in the Belmont.
984 for me. 9-8, take it to the hoop. It's an exacta that I'm salivating at. I will bet Anna Marie, who, it's tough to see. They claim that Ben Curtis lost the iron on Anna Marie right away, put in a middle part, but just too much to do. I thought received the worst trip in the race. Now, for those who didn't see the Derby, this was my top pick, so please take that with a grain of salt. Sierra Leone with the blinkers. I mean, I just think it's the day. I think Flavia and Pride, I think they find the winner's circles. I have Anna Marie underneath. The Wine Steward, I think, is moving in the right direction, can be part of third. But I want to say this. It's the first Triple Crown race I've ever come across. Not one of these 10 winning would I even bat an eye. I think it's a great horse race from a betting standpoint. We'll see what it is from a historical standpoint to me. But Anna Marie is going to be the price horse that I'm pushing up. But it's 984 for me.
When was the last time you saw a Belmont where the longest shot was 12-1?
Never. I mean, you would just, my quick answer would be, you always have, 3 or 4 horses that maybe don't belong. Right. You're like saying it in the present. Down the road, you can, look back on it and say they didn't. But you can't say that today going in, that none of these horses. There's maybe 1 or 2 horses that I would, not think have a good chance in here, but none would surprise me.
13th, the first of 2 get-out races, and it'll go off at 7:27. Do note there's been a sign outside our set here for the past few days. If you're headed out, there's going to be restrictions on travel directions on Nelson Avenue, so keep that in mind if you're headed out. And certainly there will be some traffic after the Belmont Stakes. But again, 7:27.
Not for Kevin.
Kickoff for race number 13. State bred maiden specials going 1 mile and a 16th on the grass. Kevin, you're up.
I went 11, 12, and something else. 11, 12, 5. North End Lady comes off a long layoff, as the expression used to be, hasn't been seen since Hector was a pup. Tag gets Pratt in the irons. He's 2 for 3 with when enlisting Pratt. Nice Bullet Breeze back on May 9th for this. Could be sitting on a good one for the return. Keep it short and sweet. Number 12, a little bit naughty, gets Lasix for the first time. I always give a horse 2 opportunities under a particular set of circumstances before eliminating. Second time on firm ground today. And number 5, Downtown Channel, 20-1, Clunkin horse. Vandorf first time out, so it'll behoove you to take a look in the paddock, especially on a day like today. They're going to be very cautious about who they let over. But you have English Channel over a War Front Dam, definitely bred for the trip. So 11, 12, 5 for me.
Anthony?
Boy, good luck to if you're in the horizontals, getting through the last 3. 3, 7, 10 for me, taking 0 for 4, all on turf. I draw inside with a Let Dioro, followed up by the 7, Splash Shoes making the seasonal debut, and number 10, top of the table for Mark Henning, 3, 7, 10.
11, 3, 14, and 7. If that 14 doesn't get in, I would look at the 8, but I also am with North End Lady, who, relatively lightly raced, comes back for the seasonal debut. This is the kind that can come back improved, perhaps. Aleto Dioro in the second spot off a series of races that I think match up okay with this bunch. And if Miss Leao gets in from the 14, interesting to me for Bill Mott. But, again, that post position also is going to be something to overcome the 2 turns on the turf. But I'm 11, 3, 14, and 7. And, again, if the 14 didn't get in, maybe take a look at the 8. All right, 14th and final, scheduled for 8:02.
Who'd have thunk it?
The 14th is an allowance non-winners at 1, other than a quick 5.5 on the grass. Anthony, you're up.
2:11.9, Salt Spray, Wesley Ward, second start of the year, like the comeback race. It was long ago that I won't have to worry about muscle. I'm not worried about muscle regression. The 11 going out for Bill Mott, Mansa Musa, I guess. Blinkers on. We get Lasix. 2 starts in the United States stakes races, and then Capture the Flag. And now in Todd Pletcher's barn for the seasonal debut. 2:11.9 as I am exhausted walking out at 8:05.
I'm 2, 6, 11, and 10. I thought the 1 was a little bit interesting, but yeah, I agree. Salt Spray looking good off the first 3 starts of the career, including that seasonal debut last time. Yarrow seems to be a player off the seasonal debut. Near miss for Christophe Clement. Put that one in the mix. And then number 11, Mansa Musa, going out for Belmont, off a couple of starts since arriving in the United States. And both of those I thought were okay and would mix it up with this group. Certainly going to root for the number 12, Eddie F's Racing. Always like to root for the locals, but for me, I have it 2, 6, 11, and 10.
Well, if you're confident in our handicapping prowess, this could be your get-out race, because for the first time all day, we've landed on the same horse. I went 2, 6, 3 in the nightcap. Salt Spray, bit of a fragile horse, lightly raced 4-year-old, but is the KISS horse. Keep it simple, stupid. Improving speed figures over his troika of starts to date. Slides in 10 slots off the most recent and should sit a nice trip. Second choice is Yarrow, check earning machine. Been in the money 11 out of 14 lifetime starts, and that includes being 2 for 2 beneath Joel. And we close out today with a little bit of a price. Roy Soleil, a versatile sort. Another one you could draw an upwards arrow alongside the buyers, and you're getting double-digit odds. And another horse who's yet to finish out of the money. So 2, 6, 3, good night.
All right, fellas, appreciate it. Any final thoughts?
Good luck. I mean, it's such a good card. I mean, if exhaustion didn't set in, the late daily double would be fantastic with the full fields.
I'm just happy to be here. I've alluded to it several years ago. I stayed in the hotel 20 feet away with my family growing up, and it's just great being here with you guys and doing this. And if you're going to the track, I've said this so often in my column on the big days, they do not tolerate drinking and driving up here. Do not. Walk it, whatever, crawl it, do not get behind the wheel. I'm telling you, you will get taken away. So be careful and have fun.
Solid piece of advice, and I will echo all of that and wish everybody good luck on a really, really nice day of racing in a nice 4-day Belmont Festival up here at Saratoga, which so far has been a lot of fun, and anticipate it to continue so. So appreciate you tuning in this morning. Cash some tickets this afternoon. We will see you Sunday morning again for Handicappers Report, and Sunday morning it's Loose on the Lead with myself and Steve Vick as well, doing some recap action on the Saturday Belmont Stakes card. So you can tune in for that coming up on Sunday morning. But again, we appreciate tuning into the Handicappers Report Belmont Stakes card. Good luck.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.